2023, the US and Japan battled in one of the most epic World Baseball Classic finales in the competition's history, with the face of Japan Shohei Ohtani striking out the face of the United States Mike Trout for the final out of the game, helping prove that Japan is still producing some of the best talent in the world, and 2023 was a prime example of that. After beating the US in the final, Shohei Ohtani signed the richest contract in North American sports history, Yoshinobu Yamamoto signed the most lucrative pitching contract in MLB history, and Shōta Imanaga signed for 4 years, $53 million with the Chicago Cubs. A move that was by no means one of the biggest of the offseason, but so far he's been nothing but spectacular in Wrigley, with his first 7 outings going up there as one of the best ever to start an MLB career. Those who tuned into the World Baseball Classic in 2023 already got their first look at Imanaga when he started in the final against the US, notably sitting down some of the game's best players like Mookie Betts for the first out of the game on a fly ball to the right fielder, then Paul Goldschmidt striking out swinging, and Nolan Arenado to finish off the first inning on a ground ball to the first baseman. And after getting Mookie Betts to fly out again, this time to left field, he ended his night going 2 innings while allowing 1 earned run. Not a bad showing against some of the best players in the world. Fast forward to the end of the 2023 season, Imanaga enjoyed yet another dominant campaign in the MPB with a 2.66 ERA and 188 strikeouts in 159 innings pitched. It may have been a slight regression from his previous season's totals, where his ERA barely hovered around 2, but nonetheless his stellar campaign made him an intriguing name for many teams in the offseason, like the Boston Red Sox, who had many question marks surrounding their staff after finishing 21st in the majors in ERA at 4.52, or maybe the San Francisco Giants, a team in desperate need of a front-of-the-line rotation arm after having 8 different guys start at least 10 games for the club. But instead he joined the Cubs, making the rotation look a whole lot more complete, with older players in Justin Steele, Kyle Hendricks, Jameson Taillon, and now Imanaga, as well as intriguing young arms in Javier Assad, Hayden Wesneski, and Jordan Wicks. This staff looks poised to surpass their previous season's totals and help lift the Cubs into the playoffs for the first time since the abbreviated 2020 season. And for Imanaga, his first opportunity with his new ball club came on April 1st against the Colorado Rockies, with the first batter he faced being Charlie Blackmon, a veteran left-hander who has been around the block for a while. It was his job to set the stage for the rest of the lineup, but on the 3rd pitch of their encounter, Imanaga got him to fly out to the center fielder Cody Bellinger. This is something you're going to see a lot of from Imanaga. So far in his MLB career, he has allowed fly balls at an incredibly high rate at 37.5%, over 10% higher than league average. And while this number will most likely come down a bit, he will always yield an above average fly ball rate. It's what happens when you like to pitch up in the zone, and so far through his first 7 starts, this is what his heat map looks like with his fastball. As you can see, he likes to locate it up in the zone. Because of this, he can be more susceptible to home runs, but with fly balls yielding a much lower batting average on balls in play, when he's on his game, he can completely shut down the opposition and not allow many hits, kind of like how the rest of this game went. In fact, he became the first Cubs pitcher in the last 50 years to toss 5 2/3 no-hit innings to start his career, as the streak came to an end via a Charlie Blackmon single into center field, and the next batter, Brendan Rodgers, doing the exact same thing. Now, with 2 on and 2 outs in a tie game, this is typically a point in time most pitchers, especially ones making their MLB debut, succumb to the pressure and fall apart. But not for Imanaga. He pitched in the finals of the World Baseball Classic against some of the best players the US had to offer, with the ending result being a gold medal around his neck. And with the backing of manager Craig Counsell, he got the opportunity to face Nolan Jones to finish the inning, an opportunity he took full advantage of, striking him out on 3 pitches to finish the night as just the 2nd pitcher in MLB history with 6 scoreless innings, 0 walks allowed, and 9 strikeouts in his debut. And as he walked back to the dugout after striking out Jones in a crucial situation, he let out a loud "let's go" to the fans, who all stood up on their feet in support of their new signing. That's pretty crazy to get that type of reaction in your first game, especially playing for such a fabled franchise in the Chicago Cubs. But after the debut he deserved it. All in all, it couldn't have gone much better for Imanaga in his first start, but that was against the Colorado Rockies. And no offense to them, but so far this year they are 3-16 on the road, scoring just 3.3 runs per game. Now, I'm not trying to take away from his stellar debut, but rather to show that his second start against the Los Angeles Dodgers was going to be a much bigger test, with the first batter coming up to the plate being Mookie Betts. As mentioned, these two have faced each other before, with Imanaga coming out victorious on both occasions, inducing Betts into flying out. And in their third encounter, it was much of the same as Betts lifted the ball to right field, but nowhere near deep enough to cause any trouble, so up stepped Shohei Ohtani to the plate. This was it, Shōta Imanaga versus Shohei Ohtani, the showdown. Once teammates representing Japan at the WBC a year prior, to now competitors, and their first matchup against each other, it lasted 9 whole pitches, with Ohtani fouling off 3 straight 3-2 offerings before striking out on a perfectly located fastball. I mean, look at where the catcher was located and where he executed. Can't get much better than that, and to do so in a 3-ball count against the best hitter in the league is incredible. But what's equally impressive is that in their next encounter, Imanaga got Ohtani to pop up into foul territory. So, to reiterate, in the year where Shohei Ohtani has been tearing the seams off the baseball, leading the league in hits, doubles, home runs, batting average, slugging percentage, OPS, OPS plus, and total bases, Imanaga got him to strike out swinging and pop up into foul territory. Just these two at-bats against Ohtani should be more than enough to convince you that he can hang with the best players on the planet. And if it weren't for a pesky rain delay that ended his evening, he could potentially have gone deep in the game as he finished with just 43 pitches thrown over 4 innings, 3 strikeouts, and no earned runs. You'd have to go all the way to his 4th start against the Miami Marlins to find the first time he allowed an earned run when Jazz Chisholm Jr. singled up the middle in the top of the 4th inning to score Tim Anderson from second, ending his scoreless streak at 18 2/3 innings pitched. And following a Josh Bell home run in the 6th to give him his second earned run, his ERA went from 0 to just .84, a still impressive number, and the one he took with him to Boston to face the Red Sox. So far this season, the Sox have surprisingly found themselves 3rd place in the AL East, but it's not been from their offense, which ranks just 14th in the majors at 4.6 runs per game. Instead, it's been their pitching. The club ranks best in the league in ERA at 2.68, and they've been getting help from everyone. Kenley Jansen is 5 for 6 in save opportunities with a 1.69 ERA, and starter Tanner Houck has the lowest FIP in all of baseball and a sub-2 ERA across 7 starts. But none have been better than the man Imanaga was going up against, Crawford. At the time of this matchup, the two were the leaders in ERA for their respective leagues. It was truly a battle of the aces, and Imanaga made sure to stand out once again, sitting down the first 10 batters of the game before running into some trouble in the 4th, allowing a home run to Tyler O'Neill to open the scoring for the Sox. But that's all they would get off him, as he pitched into the 7th inning for the first time in his career, ending his night with 6 1/3 innings pitched, just the 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts, beating out Cutter in the battle of the aces as he let up 3 earned runs across 6 innings, but was shaky throughout his outing, allowing 10 base runners. This was his final start of April, giving him some nice totals for the month with just 3 earned runs allowed in 27 2/3 innings pitched for an ERA of .98, and 28 strikeouts to just 3 walks for an insanely elite ratio of 9.33. You couldn't have hoped for much better of a month from the newcomer, and he took home the NL Rookie of the Month award, only being bested in Pitcher of the Month by Ranger Suarez, who although had a slightly higher ERA, tossed around 14 more innings. But his lack of recognition for the award didn't slow him down one bit when he went to the Big Apple for the first time to face the New York Mets, but he said it felt like he had already been there, mentioning he recognized the view from his hotel room from Spider-Man. And perhaps the feeling of comfort from Spider-Man helped, because he went on to have his best game of his career so far, and he kind of had to. With a combined effort from 5 different guys on the Mets, they allowed just 1 earned run, giving 0 margin of error for Shōta, but it didn't matter, as he went 7 strong scoreless innings, allowing just 4 base runners and striking out 7, helping the Cubs win by a scoreline of just 1-0. And after the game, Imanaga was getting praise from everyone. His manager Craig Counsell was impressed the way he fielded his position on this ball hit up the first baseline, where he waved off Michael Busch and fielded the ball himself. His catcher Miguel Amaya, who has caught all but one of his starts so far, also chimed in stating he has been executing everything and has been filthy since day one. And so many more have weighed in on how much they've enjoyed watching him so far this year, especially after his most recent start against the San Diego Padres, a team that is no easy test for any pitcher, as the club still ranks 6th best in baseball in terms of runs per game, despite losing Juan Soto this offseason. But in front of his home fans, he continued his impeccable run of form, finishing the 7th inning with 0 earned runs allowed and 8 strikeouts. Now, at this point, with 95 pitches thrown, you wouldn't blame the manager making the call to the pen, but he let him go out to start the 8th inning against Kyle Higashioka, who was later pinch hit for Luis Arraez. and in their battle, Arise did what he does best, get a single, bringing up the hot jerks in Profar, who was finally able to capitalize on Imanaga, sending a 2-run homer just over the fence in left center. To me, it was a bit of an interesting decision to let him go out to face Profar for the 4th time, especially him being a fly ball pitcher, and Profar hot this season with 5 home runs entering the game. But sometimes that stuff happens, and in the end it didn't matter because in the bottom of the 8th inning the Cubs tied the score following a Christopher Morel sac fly, and on the first pitch Michael Busch saw in the bottom of the 9th, he sent the ball into orbit to right center field to give the Cubs the walk-off victory. And after the game, Busch had this to say: "It's always fun playing behind Shōta. Obviously he's got this stuff, the charisma, just everything about him. He's awesome in the clubhouse, he's just a competitor, and he's going out and doing his thing." This is just one of many instances of players and fans around the game becoming huge fans of the way Shōta is. For one, he's funny, like when he mentioned one of the coolest things about being in America is that you can still take a right turn on a red light, or when he showed his passion screaming "let's go" while exiting the mound after his first start in Wrigley and after his 8th strikeout against the Padres. He's become an easy guy to root for, and it's especially helpful that he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball in 2024. In ERA, he's leading the league by .56. For reference, that's about the same difference from 2nd place all the way to 12th place Ronel Blanco, and this has helped him to an ERA plus of .394, beating out 2nd place by 137 points, which is about the same difference between 2nd place and 39th place Cole Reagans. That just goes to show how much better he has been than every single starting pitcher in the first month and a half of games. In fact, his 7 starts has been one of the best to begin a career in MLB history. Since 1969, when the divisional era began and when the mound was lowered to the height it is today, Shota's 1.08 ERA is the lowest, beating out Jared Weaver by .07 and Steve Rogers by .13. He's also become one of just 3 players to post at least 40 strikeouts while walking at most 5 batters. For more context of how ridiculous his 5 walks are, he is leading the league in walks per 9 innings at just 1.1, and he has as many wins as walks allowed. It's safe to say he's been a savior to this Cubs rotation that has already missed Justin Steele for a month, as well as Kyle Hendricks, who's having a tough start to his season. That's why Craig Counsell stated he's been a big deal here. He's been so important to us and a big reason why we're off to this start. It's true, he's yet to receive a loss so far in his career, and in all 7 games he has started, the Cubs have gone on to win every one of them. And if you take away his starts, the club will be just 15-15, and their ERA, which currently sits at .376, 14th best in the league, would be 4.14 without him, which would lower their ranking all the way to 20th. It's pretty remarkable how one player can have that much impact on an entire pitching staff, but that's what he's been able to do in his first month and a half of big league action. And of course, regression will come. I mean, a .394 ERA plus would be the best ever by 71 points. It could happen, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Instead, let's enjoy the dominant run Shōta is in at the moment, and at the end of the year, who knows, maybe his 2024 season could warrant another video. And if that's something that would interest you, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. Only a small percentage of people watching are actually subscribed, and it would mean the world to me. Alright, thank you in advance, and I'll see you in the next one.